Welcome, and thank you for joining our session on digital portfolios. My name is Jaye Van Kirk from the Department of Psychology at San Diego Mesa College. Today, we're going to introduce you to what a digital portfolio is, their importance in highlighting the skills valued by employers, the content of digital portfolios, and strategies for you to assess the artifacts in portfolios. So what is a digital portfolio? It's a living collection of tangible evidence of students' skills, experience, and abilities. And as faculty members, you play a very important role in helping your students to develop skills. All the assignments that you offer provide students an opportunity to develop skills, to broaden their skills, and those serve as evidence of the skills that the employers are seeking. We refer to those as artifacts. And you're going to be seeing some wonderful examples of digital portfolio artifacts today. So what are employers seeking in the 21st century workforce? It's important first to recognize that every discipline has unique skill sets. So we want you to think about the skills that employers value from your discipline. So these are examples of skill domains from psychological science. We also want to think about what the job process is like. And we're going to contrast what it was like in the 20th century to what it is today in the 21st century, because things have changed. It used to be sufficient to have completed a degree. Today, in the 21st century, people are very interested in looking at the person's skill sets. It used to be beneficial for people to have experience. In the 21st century, it's expected that people have experience. It used to be beneficial for people to have had internships, and today in the 21st century, it's expected that people will have completed internships. And there's research to indicate that possibly over 80% of employers are expecting people to come in with internship experience prior to being hired. And the application process has changed. It used to be sufficient to submit a resume. In the 21st century, a person that's going to be very competitive will have a digital portfolio. What this is a list of skill domains as well as skill sets. And this is developed by the American Psychological Association, who assembled a task force to look at job ads across diverse job sectors and across the United States. And so what the research was showing is that employers were looking at 5 domain areas and around 17 skills. Those domains include cognition, communication, personal, social, and technology. Some of the skill domains within that include analytical thinking, creativity, oral and written communication skills, adaptability, integrity, inclusivity, collaboration, and adaptability and flexibility to new technology. And so these are the skills that employers value from psychology majors. And so you want to have an awareness of what skills your discipline offers so that you can help your students develop evidence and to be able to articulate the skills that the employers are seeking through a digital portfolio. So how can you highlight their skills and experiences? Through digital portfolios. So they are a wonderful networking opportunity to allow the students to recognize their peers that share similar interests. It also serves as a platform for employers to reach out to students for potential positions. It's a wonderful platform for students to demonstrate their creativity, and it also serves as a reflection point for where the students are coming in, how they are developing, and how they can continue to develop professionally. The digital portfolios also can serve as wonderful marketing tools because what they are able to showcase are the pieces of evidence of the skills that they have acquired through their education. So what are those artifacts? Most of the time people think that the artifacts refer to things like this, but that's not what we're referring to. We're going to be talking to you about two kinds of categories of artifacts, the traditional ones as well as the contemporary ones. So in the traditional category, those are the research papers, the posters, as well as the resumes. So feel really good, congratulate yourself, because you are already offering assignments that provide your students with artifacts. What you might want to think about are ways that you can help update those assignments to give them a more contemporary kind of flavor. So this is an example of a resume of a student, and what she's done is highlight certain skills, those in critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and so in that way, it clearly articulates to the employer the skills that she's coming with. Now for the contemporary artifacts. Those are brochures, infographics, cartoons, and even poetry. So in this assignment, students were asked to create a brochure to develop a service or a product. They had to work in teams. And so this team decided to create this product that they called Wake Scan. And so they had to research the material, they had to apply the knowledge from the course, they had to distill the information so that it could fit on 6 columns on 2 pages of the brochure, and to be able to convey the device was intended to do and the benefits. And so that this is a way for your students to demonstrate the application of their skills. Yet another format for your students is the cartoon. And so what this student chose to do is to demonstrate his knowledge about neurotransmitters in cartoon format. This student used a cartoon to highlight her knowledge and understanding about psychopharmacology of caffeine. And so these two cartoon assignments provide wonderful opportunities for the students to showcase this aspect of creativity that wouldn't necessarily emerge in a traditional research paper. And these are the kinds of displays that the employers would be excited to see from a student that's applying for a job. Yet another format is the infographic. So in this assignment, students were asked to summarize a chapter. They had to collaborate and they had to learn software technology of how to build an infographic. And so what you're seeing is their understanding of technical information and their ability to translate highly technical information into a format for a non-scientist to read. They also had to identify graphic materials that were relevant to the concepts. And then this one is an example of an infographic covering the history of neuroscience as well as foundational concepts of the research process. And this student chose to do poetry. So in her articulating the functions of the brain, she identified those functions through haiku. So all of them are wonderful displays of skills of the students' abilities that are acquired from their class as well as from other courses that they have taken. Additionally, your students can do recordings, podcasts, videos, and animations. So here's an example of an animation. We don't have time to show you the clip, but the idea is that the student can do this individually or collaboratively. They get to be very creative. They have to be very concise to fit the material within a limited time frame. And how do you organize all of those wonderful artifacts? through the digital portfolios. What you're seeing here are 2 pages of a student's digital portfolio. Let's point out a couple of things. So you have the student's name. They can include a photograph of themselves. They have a tagline, 1 sentence that describes who they are. They can pick a background picture that is relevant to them and their interests. And one of the things that you should note over here is that they are listing all of the skills that they are claiming. So not only do they have a list of the breadth of the skills, next to those skills, you see these numbers. And what those numbers indicate are the number of artifacts that are tied to the skills. And so in this very concise way, you have information about the breadth and the depth of skill sets of the students. In this front page of the digital portfolio, it provides an opportunity for the students to introduce themselves, their interests, their goals. There's also areas for their education, their work experience, their volunteer experience, leadership. And then on this side, you're seeing examples of the artifacts that the student chose to include. And in the top 5 here, you see that she's including the traditional artifacts of research papers, but she's also included 3 artifacts from the contemporary options. This one is an infographic on neurotransduction. This one is a brochure about careers in psychology. And then this one here is a cartoon about the blood-brain barrier. And so in this way, the student showcases the diversity of her skills in this digital portfolio format. So what are the features of a digital portfolio? We want the students to be able to highlight different examples from the skill sets that they possess. And your assignments certainly offer your students those opportunities. It's also important for your students to tie those artifacts to the skills. So as they are completing the assignments, you can have your students articulate and write out what was the skill that was required to complete the assignment, so that they are having an opportunity to practice articulating the skills. And so when they are in front of an employer during an interview, that it is more readily able to come to their mind. How do you assess the effectiveness of those assignments? What we want you to do is to think about the skill domains and the skill sets that are a part of your course, that are a part of your discipline area. And so in terms of the metrics of assessing these things, you can think about the number of domains that the assignments fall under, and you can think about the number of skills that the assignments fall under. And so for all the assignments then, you could think about either expanding the domain areas, or you could expand the skill sets. And so that can be informative for the outcomes of your course. It could be also informative for your department to see what kinds of unique opportunities and experiences students can gain from the courses. And so in helping your students to articulate and demonstrate these skills, you are helping your students to be much more competitive in the job market. So today, you learned about what a digital portfolio is. You learned about the content of digital portfolios. You looked at opportunities to develop assignments in different domains and skills, and that you got a brief introduction on ways that you can think about assessing the assignments and the artifacts in the digital portfolios. So I hope that this was helpful, and I thank you for joining us for this session. And I want to extend a special thanks and acknowledgement to Dr. Stacie Spencer, whose ideas and contributions to this presentation were instrumental. So thank you very much. And here is a list of references if you wanted a little bit more detail. I look forward to hearing from you.